Just carry on. Let's just carry on being inappropriate. Right, setting
Stop
us
me
up.
before.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're live. Zoom tells me that we're live on Facebook. So hello everybody. We're going to let a few of you join while I waffle a bit about what we're up to today on our regular Friday live session on Facebook. I don't think these are going to ever end, you know. I feel like
keep them going.
I just think I miss them too much. Why not? They're really good fun, and everyone is so supportive and brilliant. And there's always stuff to talk about, isn't there? So coronavirus or no coronavirus, we can
just give me
carry on.
Talk. It's so nice to talk to people.
Isn't it? And that's the whole point of these sessions. And you know what, we've been really, really proud to have so many people email us about and comment on these sessions to say that, you know, at least, and there's lots of other people obviously providing really great resources in this very challenging time in telly that wouldn't normally be there, but we are, you know, thrilled to be able to do it and provide a little bit of chat, entertainment, information, togetherness. Actually, lots of people said thank you for making us feel so connected right now. So
your community, it's important.
It really is. So welcome along everybody. I can see some people joining now, although you guys can't, which is always weird.
No,
so hello. Yeah, hello. We're not alone, but for those of you joining us, hello. I'm Kimberly from Talented People, and we're a staffing company. We run headhunting searches, exec searches, and project staffing for lots of different independent companies across the industry. Lots of you know us from talking to you over many years about work and industry stuff, and thanks as well to some of the clients who are joining us and enjoying these sessions as much as you guys. We've been running these since March now, so that's sort of 4 months of chatting about industry topics, about coronavirus related things, about making ofs, just things to keep you guys informed, and a feeling of community that we've always loved to nurture and support. And things are picking up, you know. Rosie and I we've been busy these past couple of weeks, and we can see, you know, the work is trickling in, and, you know, we want you to feel positive about that, even though there may well obviously be a delay in getting everybody a contract. You know, we can see the light, so crossing everything. But thank you for coming along to this session. As you guys have seen, this session is about, it's something different. It's something about working outside of TV during coronavirus, and it's something that lots of you I know have either thought about or perhaps done yourselves, and we would love for you to share your stories as well in the comments below and afterwards. But we really just want this to be a very down-to-earth session, talking about the reality of not earning any money right now, and trying to figure out what to do to make ends meet, what can be done, whether it's just one of those things that we have to get on with, whether there's actually more to be taken from doing something else during a period like this. And as such, I've invited two very lovely and brilliant people along to talk to you guys today. Helen Pratt. Hi, Helen.
Hello.
Lots of you know Helen from her time either in production or talent managing. Over the years, you've worked on absolutely tons of formats and Factent and docs. I was looking at your CV earlier thinking, I don't think there's a lot that you haven't actually worked on in that space.
Yes, I have been in TV for 25 years. So
not that you'd ever know. Not that you'd
no.
Ever. No.
Yes, I've done a lot.
And Helen is a senior edit producer. I think would be, you know, the right title for you currently, right?
Yeah, not retired yet.
No. And Chris Piper. Hi, Chris.
Hi, how are you?
Hello. Good, thank you. Thank you for joining us. And you're a relatively new person to us because you, Chris, was is a dancer by training and trade, was a professional dancer and choreographer, moved into telly recently, has been an intern at RDF for the last 6 months, well, the previous 6 months to coronavirus, whereby everything then obviously changed, and we'll be hearing about what he's done as a more junior person in this industry to get by, and what his thinking is about moving forward with all of that. So thank you guys for joining us again. And look, I'm so excited to be talking about this. And actually, it might be surprising to some people because obviously, as talented people, we are the sort of purveyors of work and commitment to the telly cause. Actually, what we're talking about is get out, do something else. And I know there are a lot of very disorientated people out there right now. So it is it's a complicated time, both mentally and work wise, isn't it? And I think, Helen, should we come to you first, because I feel like at the senior end of the scale, it must have been a difficult decision to have to make early on, knowing that your money had dried up. So tell us about your personal situation in terms of you and your partner.
So I mean, as I said before, I've been in TV for 25 years. I'm used to insecurity. It's part of, you know, what you take on when you start in the industry, isn't it? But I think because I did talent management for quite a few years, and then about 3 years ago I decided I wanted to get back into production. I just missed the kind of cut and thrust and excitement of making stuff, and it's all been fine, and I've kind of got back on my horse and carried on. But in January, I finished a contract at the end of January, and I thought, oh, I'll have a bit of a break. That's been quite a busy one. I'll have like a bit of February off, and then I'll start talking to people in that way that you do. Sometimes you have things lined up, some things you don't. It's always quiet that time of year, especially if you're edit producing. So I'd kind of taken a couple of weeks off. I'd been on holiday for a week, and I was kind of I remember kind of seeing the news from China and thinking, this is coming our way. This is definitely coming our way. I wonder what it's going to be like. Gosh, that's a bit scary. Anyway, carry on. And I think I started talking to people about my next contract. I got something lined up for October. Actually, it was July at the time. And I was like, okay, so I just need to find something now to fill in that gap. And then lockdown just happened, and obviously immediately overnight, no income, having had like 6 weeks off, which was not great. But the added problem for me and my family personally is my partner is also self-employed in the food industry, and his business effectively shut down the same day mine did. So we were faced overnight with no income at all, which was terrifying. And
were you in a position at all to ask anyone for support from a previous employer or furlough?
Well, no, I've been at Boundless, but it finished in January. So you know, it was March. What was it? March the 20th. I can't remember what the actual date was. So I couldn't ask anybody for that help. Though it wasn't clear at the time what support would come from the government, you know, and it was a funny feeling, actually, I've got to say, because having worked in the industry for such a long time and given my all to every job I ever did, and kind of suddenly thinking I'm on my own, you know, I'm literally on my own, there's no support coming from anywhere. All of those people that I've worked for and all of those slightly strange and wonderful personalities that I've dealt with, there's just nothing. We're all kind of, as freelancers, you're literally just on your own. And it was quite a sobering feeling. And then looking at my partner and thinking, you know, we can't support each other. We're just going to have to kind of, I think we spoke to the mortgage company to try and get a mortgage holiday. We looked at our expenses. And for probably about 6 or 7 days, we were panicking, sleepless nights, you know, just how are we going to do it? What were we going to do? My partner runs an Indian cooking school. So the problem with that was that we couldn't, and we run it from our house, and obviously people couldn't come into our house. But he's an amazing cook. And so what we thought we'd do, first of all, was try and do some lessons online. So, you know, with my TV producing skills, like literally an iPad, propped up on some stools, we started doing Instagram live cook-alongs. So, you know, we put it on our Instagram feed and Facebook, and kind of sent out lists of ingredients and just said, everybody join. Or 6 o'clock on Thursday, we're going to be doing, can't remember what the first lesson was. We did something like a dal and chapatis or something fairly simple.
And was the plan to make some money from that, or was that more of a profile thing?
What we wanted to do was just say, we're here and we're cooking, but you can't come to our house. And so we kind of said we would do it for free. And then loads of our friends were like, you've got to charge for it. You keep saying you haven't got any money, you've got to charge for it. And we were kind of nervous of charging for it. So we decided, the second time we did it, we said contributions would, if you've enjoyed it, please give us contributions. But it wasn't going to pay the bills. It just wasn't. It was nice, and it was a great thing to do, because there was a kind of community that started following us and doing it every week. And there were people watching from all around the world. So we had people from Tobago and Melbourne and New York.
Wow.
And like people all cooking the same meal and then kind of sharing photos afterwards. And it was brilliant and great fun. And it really was mentally great for me and my partner, because it just gave us something to focus on. But then it was like a fucking mortgage, excuse me. Mortgage. And
at this point, were you sure that there was no telework coming in for you?
Yeah. I think it was on Viva La PD or something I'd seen. Like only 19% of the industry was working, like freelance people working, and I knew people with indies who were kind of completely scaling down. Everyone was furloughed. I just knew. So a friend of ours said that they had been to get an Indian takeaway, and they'd queued up, and it was really rubbish, and everyone was like, I'm just so sick of cooking. And we were like, well, we could just do that. We can do that. You can cook, I can organise. So that's what we did. We launched a takeaway from our house.
Wow. So was there a moment where you sat there with your pen and your pad and you were going, okay, I'm not getting any income, you're not getting any income, we can both cook, or you can cook and I can sort it out. How is this going to work? I mean, there's so much logistics to setting something like that up in the best of times, let alone overnight.
Yeah. So the first thing we did was my partner Nick checked with the council about how we could do it, if we were allowed to do it, because the last thing we would want was to do it, poison someone and be unregulated or whatever. We wanted to make sure that we at least knew that we could do it properly. So we got some quite clear guidance from Haringey Council about the way to do it. We had to organise because we decided to call it collectaways, so it was a bit different. It wasn't a takeaway, so people collected from our house, because we didn't have a screwdriver, it was just me and him. So we had to organise 15-minute slots for collections, so that it was socially distanced, so we couldn't have a kind of queue down the street kind of thing. And apart from that, it was all fairly straightforward in terms of setting up. I bought some purchase orders from Amazon, and I was like, I'm ready. Do it.
Good to go.
Amazing. But then you had to go and buy the food and work out how much you're charging, and did you how did that work, and were you making okay money in the end?
Well, it was a real learning curve, actually, because the first week we kind of looked online at various takeaways, because we don't buy Indian takeaway food, because
your partner makes it.
So we kind of looked online for a few prices, and we kind of gauged that was about right. But then we realized that they use really horrible cheap ingredients, and we didn't want to do that. And so the first week our profit margins were really shit. But
you got great feedback, right? And people came
amazing
back.
The food is amazing. The way we did it was we basically I sent WhatsApps to friends and said, do you want to tell your friends this is what we're doing? And so the first week we had probably about 25 orders. And then it literally just went off the scale, to the point where, so what I did was I arranged a little WhatsApp group, so you had to join the WhatsApp group, and I would share the menu. It was a fixed menu, which we changed every week, and I would share that on a Monday, take the orders for the Friday. So we just did it once a week on a Friday. So because there's only two of us cooking, and in a small domestic kitchen, it was quite logistically challenging to.
I imagine that was really bloody stressful, to be honest, as well, because you're like, is this order for Bob or John, or I don't know.
Well, that's where my TV training came. Did
it? Come on, then where are the transferable skills there?
Excel documents. Yeah, I've got a mean Excel spreadsheet basically. So we kept track of everything, like what we bought, how much, like how many aubergines we used to make a certain amount of dishes. I would keep track of all of that, keep track of all the expenses, work out where it was cheaper to buy something. You know, it was just running a business, a brand new kind of idea for a business. So it was a lot of detail. So for me, I became a kind of vegetable chopper, and I mean, very organized, to the point where when people were doing their collections, I would see if I could recognize that there were groups of people that knew each other, and I would give them similar times so that they might bump into each other in the street. So I was also organizing their
Wow, there's your
Everyone's
people skills.
social
right
lives as well.
Yeah. But yeah, it was absolutely exhausting, and it is exhausting.
I can't imagine that. I mean, you must have been working every hour, right? 'Cause you have a child as well.
Yeah, teenager, 14-year-old. Yeah,
So that is
reluctant to help.
mad. Well, yeah. What, she wouldn't chop any onions
I
for
was going
you?
to say, surely that's free labour there as well, no?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
All
she
together
actually,
as a family.
she did help us on Fridays. She helped organise all the onion barges, and that we paid her to do that. So it was a bit of incentive.
But was there any point where you thought, what the heck am I doing? Like, I'm in telly edit producer. What am I doing?
Yeah, every time it was getting to like 1 o'clock in the morning, and we were still like portioning up, and we had to buy 2 new fridges. We had to, we've got a dining area where normally we'd hold the cooking classes, so we bought 2 massive fridges to put all the stuff in there, because we kind of, the first week we just kind of muddle through, and then we were like, oh my god, we've got to organize this better. So yeah, we got some white goods in.
Well, you must have realized that it was going to be for a chunk of time then, because I think that's what probably other people might be worried about.
No,
you know,
we don't know, we still don't know. We might be doing it for forever. At the beginning it was like, well, we'll do it for like a few weeks, and then it became clear that there was no work on the horizon, and we did it straight for 8 weeks, 8 weeks, and then we were broken, and our car broke down, which was amazing, because I was like, we can't do it this week. So we had to have a week off.
But were you worried though that what you've got yourself into this sort of new setup business, you obviously want to be doing telly still, but that you were going to get a call to say, oh, we've got this lovely big meaty contract now from next week, can you do it?
Well, the way it worked was that I could stop it with a week's notice, which we actually did, because I've just done a 4-week contract for multi-story. Okay,
so because your network, the people buying from you are kind of close, and you haven't gone major.
Yeah, it's local. I mean, we know we had a few people from random places like coming in their cars to pick stuff up, but generally it was kind of Alexandra Palace, Bounds Green, Muswell Hill, kind of that area, Crouch End. And so when I got the contract, I just sent a message out saying we're going to have a break, and everyone was like, no, you can't.
What are we going to eat?
Yeah, don't make me cook again. Don't make me cook.
No. And then last week we sent a message out saying we're starting up again. Is there still interest? And it was like, yes. I mean, his food's amazing, so that's good. People have been incredibly complimentary about that. And you know, doing the Instagram live stuff was really, really helpful as well, just because it kind of kept people who were getting the takeaways. I mean, I was like, you're doing a cook along with us, and you're getting a takeaway with us. You're like eating our food all the time. So, God, I'm really blabbering on. Sorry.
No, I honestly think it's inspiring that you just you sat down and had to say, we've got no money. What can we do?
Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Yeah, it was like, what can you do? You can cook. What can I do? I can organise things. And and doing the Instagram stuff, I was producing, directing, camera, lighting, sound.
Well, in telly we wear many hats.
Yeah,
so I think that's amazing. We've actually had a comment from someone already, and please guys join in at the bottom of the video. So Oliver, thank you for saying hello. Oliver's been working as a cleaner for an NHS trust. Very hard work, and usually he works on location for scripted. So people are doing all sorts, and that brings me on to you, Chris. So Chris, as I said at the start, was just getting into telly after his first career as a dancer and choreographer, wants to work in telly now, and so he's been doing some running and junior researching at RDF just before coronavirus hit. And then Chris, what was your story from that point on?
Yeah, I think pretty much the same. I mean, initially kind of just panic, really. You know, like you've still got all the bills to pay and still got to get some financial support, you know. And I think at that point, I didn't know what was going to be available to me, or if there was going to be anything available to me. So initially it was just kind of a blind panic. And I was doing the internship at RDF, which was brilliant. And like I said, I'm just beginning my journey, but my RDF internship was just coming to the end. It ended on the 28th of March, I think it was. So the positive about that is because if anyone doesn't know about the internship at RDF, you have a 6-month internship where you get to work as a runner and researcher on lots of different projects, which is super useful to help you get to learn the business and to, you know, meet people and get to know the craft and stuff. But what's great is they then give you a placement as a researcher. So it's kind of what really appealed to me, obviously being a second career as well, was the kind of fast track through the running process to the researcher phase. So obviously not getting any younger, you know, it's been nice to kind of climb the ladder as fast as you know, as possible. So what was brilliant is that I just had this my placement was going to be on a new show they were producing, and I had a placement as a casting researcher, and then I was going to go on to be a show researcher. So I had like,
so it was all laid out, and that's so rare, isn't it?
It was perfect for me. So like I think from March till September, I had 2 kind of chunks of work laid out, and was super excited about taking the next step. And then obviously saying Corona hit, and it kind of just put a stop to all of that. So yeah, just a bit of panic initially, and so, you know, same as I don't know, I'm, you know, being a dancer, I was used to freelancing and temporary, you know, contracts, and when one ends, getting another job. So I think kind of just, you know, put that survival hat on and went to every supermarket in the area and just handed in my ridiculous CV with no retail experience whatsoever. I was like, yeah, I've shimmied for 15 years, please give me a job. But yeah, I think Sainsbury's, Iceland, Lidl, Aldi, Tesco's all got hit in one day, and then just waiting for any kind of call to try and make some money. And unfortunately, I think I went round on the Sunday, and on the Wednesday, Tesco's called me in to come in for an interview, which is the easiest interview I've ever had because they were so struggling. I mean, it was probably, you know, just at the peak of the toilet paper frenzy as well, when everyone was. So they were.
So what was an interview outside of TV like then, Chris? Tell us.
Well, I've never really had one interview for TV anyway. Most of the time I get a job, like I said, by just, you know, shaking whatever shakes. But it was more kind of like, listen, we need the help, you know, what can you do? And they needed the support as much as anyone, I think, at that time. And so fortunately, I had the interview on the Wednesday and I started the next day. So so that was a slight relief, just being like, okay, I've got some work coming in. And
what were you doing at the beginning?
Yeah, so I just got employed as a customer assistant. So it was literally shelf stacking, you know, working the deliveries and filling the shelves. But it's actually panned out quite well. From not, you know, I was starting my TV journey. I've just danced and choreographed for 15 years, and I've been quite fortunate to be successful as a dancer. But would never really thought about changing careers. And so in the last year, you know, making that transition to TV, and now it's kind of panned out that I've got a bit of a career in Tesco's as well, because I'm now the deputy manager of the store. So in the last 10 weeks.
In 10 weeks, did you say?
Yeah, 10 weeks. I
gosh.
Got promoted on my first day to a shift leader, and then after a few weeks got promoted to a supervisor, and then started to be deputy manager in training, and now I'm in a new store as the deputy manager, acting manager of the store. So
I mean, that's just mad. Where are the transferable skills then from either dancing or the bit that you've done in telly, do you see? Why do you think it's working?
Well, I think I think there are transfer. I mean, mainly people skills and communication. You know, you're constantly coming in with interacting with the public, and it's such a huge part of the job anyway. And the customer service, being able to chat to someone, I think, is a huge benefit, obviously in TV and even in Tesco's. It's been invaluable, I think, just especially at a time when so many people are uncertain and worried, you know, just coming to the supermarket and everything as well. So it's yeah, I think it's definitely just the confidence and the people skills as well has definitely helped.
Good on you. I mean, did you ever have any doubts about, you know, almost being too concerned about how it would look to work in Tesco on your CV?
I think like I said, you know, I was really fortunate as a dancer that I've never had to take a normal job. I've always had a dance job or a choreography job or a performance job. And then quite luckily as well, even in my short journey into TV production so far, like I got the IDF internship, and I've been working on lots of different productions within that 6 months. So I've never actually had to have a normal job. And there's obviously, you know, there is, whether we like it or not, there was a stigma about, oh God, I've got to stack shelves. But I think also at the time, you know, there was a lot of people that were just generally really, really grateful for the supermarket staff and the key workers, the people that were still going to work amongst the adversity and putting themselves at risk. Because there was also that element of it where you're like, am I putting myself in danger just by going to work? And
everyone else is staying home and I'm going out into the fray.
Yeah.
So there was that aspect, and, you know, a little bit of a pride issue. But like I said, actually the majority of people were just really grateful that you were coming to work and helping them survive in their shielding and isolating ways, and providing them, you know, with the things they need. So it mainly, apart from a couple of people, it's mainly been a hugely positive experience, actually. So yeah, I've actually really enjoyed it. And just again, because they've allowed me to progress so quickly, I've been constantly learning and constantly challenging myself, and you know, now I'm dealing with payrolls and budgets and lots of things, and I'm like, okay, well, this is something I never thought I'd be doing, but it's kept my brain going as well, which has been, you know, because so many people's mental health, I think, has, you know, suffered and struggled in this time as well. So just to keep the cogs turning has been
so important. That's what you said, Helen, it wasn't it, in the first week or two after your blind panic, the Instagram lives, it's something creative to do, it's something to occupy you.
It's exactly that. It gave me a reason to kind of literally get out of bed and kind of think creatively about what we were going to do and how we were going to do it, because, you know, that's what we do for a living in this industry, and to have that suddenly taken away from you, it was really hard. And, you know, I'm generally quite an optimistic person, and it was a really weird kind of period of time where I was like, I just don't know. So having that small thing to focus on, and, you know, we really thought about it, really talked about it probably a lot more than we should have done, but it was so much fun. And we always felt afterwards like we'd had a kind of sociable time, you know, because everyone's on those Instagram lives, people are typing their comments and Nick can see them live, and so like this, he's just replying to them all. And it was always, I've done live and TV, and it was a bit like, I remember that kind of slight nervousness when things were about to go wrong, like he set fire to a tea towel or spoon or something. It was like, oh,
your internet dropped out.
Yeah, the internet definitely dropped out and left people kind of like, what's going on? Have you put the chilies in yet? Chilies have gone in. Just learn, you know, that was what was great about that, was we were learning how to make live TV. And, you know, we've stopped doing it for a bit because we weren't making any money from it, but then when the takeaways took off, we're kind of thinking about doing it again, and what's been lovely is we've now decided to give the money that we made from that to Trussell Trust charity.
So amazing.
That's great.
Yeah, because it was, you know, it's not a huge amount of money from that, and we were like, we've managed it, we've survived, so now we can give a little bit out.
That's brilliant. Yeah. And what's the reaction been like for you both, from friends and family and peers? I mean, Chris, when you said to your closest family, I'm working in Tesco's, what did they say?
I think the joke really now has become that I'm a manager, but I think generally at the time people were kind of like, you know, just 100% supportive, because I know a lot of my friends, like I think actually half the West End were working in Sainsbury's and Tesco's and Morrison's at some point. Lots of my friends, performers, have all ended up doing the supermarket work as well, just because, you know, any theatre and TV or any performance is obviously off the radar for for a while.
I bet it's a better place for it as well with your
oh my
energy.
God, honestly, yeah, I've been shennying down the aisles and putting the bread up with a kick in my leg and all sorts. But yeah, no, I think it's like, you know, it's making ends meet, isn't it? And just doing what you have to do. And like I said, all of my partners self-employed and freelancer as well, so we were in the same situation. It wasn't like one of us had a stable income, or, you know, so I think generally the reaction's been quite positive, and yeah, I think people are quite supportive of, you know.
Helen, what about you? What have people been saying?
The same. I mean, I feel lucky, to be honest. I feel lucky that we had that other skill within our household, that we could pivot like that. You know, if you're in a double self-employed, particularly in the media, I've got friends who are like photographers and actors, and they've got no work, and they kind of haven't. The food thing was just saved us. You know, it was people wanted food. And if he didn't have that, I don't know what we would have done. I'd probably be in Tesco as well. But we had that skill with it between us. So and I am a mean onion chopper now.
Wow,
Yeah.
I know. I did learn that special technique on some course I did ages ago, where you kind of cut halfway down and then turn it around and do the big. Yeah.
You've got competition already now.
That's it.
You can come and work for us, Kimberly.
I'll come round. I can't come round. Oh, I can now. I can now.
Yeah, you
I
can
come round now and help. But I think your stories are so inspiring. I mean, there's lots of people watching now and saying, you know, good on you guys. Please do ask questions, by the way, if you guys want to know any sort of ins and outs of, you know, what Helen's done in sort of setting up her business during lockdown, and what Chris has done about, you know, just getting out there and sending CVs out and, you know, working his way up very quickly at Tesco's. I also want to share a story with a guy that some of you know well, and thanks to Jules Waring for suggesting him. Okay, it's Phil Christich, who I spoke to just before this session, who would have loved to have joined but couldn't make it today. He's a DV director. But he has been working at the Co-op funeral care for the last 3 months. He tried to find a job in Tesco's. He tried to find a delivery job and couldn't, or there wasn't any available, none in his area. And he found a job advertisement for someone to come and assist in the funeral parlour. Sort of took a big deep breath and went to do it, and found it very difficult for the first couple of days, you know, working with the deceased. But found it really rather enriching, in his own words, afterwards. He's actually just moved on now to go and do a telly job again. So that's quite a surreal and unbelievable but incredible part of his working life to have done that. And I just I felt really inspired by that. You know, Rosie and I have been up and down with work, and, you know, it's not been as busy as it has been. We've been developing other stuff in other ways and been busy in our own lives, but, you know, we've been able to sit and stick in our own world. But to leave it completely, like you guys and Phil, I do think is rather astonishing. And you know, it sounds like it's been rewarding for both him and for you guys in different ways anyway. So yeah, would love to hear other stories, actually. I mean, I don't know, have you guys heard of other people who've done similar things, or even outside of telly? What have your friends been doing sort of work wise?
I think, yeah, there's a lot of people that have tried to take their business, if they can, in some way online. Do you know what I mean? Like, again, a partner's a personal trainer and trying to do like online lessons and you know, as you are with the Instagram and everything. But I think there was a danger of that, because that was the only option for people as well. It was almost like an influx of everybody trying to do that, and so that became
a crowded space.
Exactly.
Yeah, all of a sudden, for sure.
But definitely, like I said, definitely, I know that a lot of my friends have fallen through the gaps. You know, I mean, they weren't able to be furloughed, or they didn't qualify for the self-employment scheme, so there was only so many options. But definitely, I think the supermarket, but it's quite humbling, isn't it, actually, when you strip away all of the airs and graces of TV or theatre or any job, like actually the things that matter really, everyone needs to eat and everyone needs to get together somehow in the community, you know, and so your food and the supermarkets have kind of just been a lifeline and for everyone just to, but it's been, I think the hardest thing I thought was, you know, you've got like people being asked to shield and stuff, and then we had like some 85-year-old women coming in every day because they've got no one else, and they have no option but to come and get their shopping themselves. And so I think actually those experiences and that have been quite humbling. Like you said, your friend working for the funeral thing, it kind of puts a lot of things in perspective sometimes. So that's one of the real positives I'm taking away from it as well.
Yes, it stripped everyone back to like humanity, really. You know, even in normal work capacity, you know, seeing you guys in your home environment and, you know, talking to our clients with their kids coming into the background, or my kids, you know, gate crashing my, you know, client shortlisting meetings or live sessions, you know, it's sort of real life, isn't it? And I feel like I'm hoping that we're all a bit more I don't know, compassionate and humble as a whole.
I hope so.
I've got a question for you, Chris, from Emma Morgan. Hello, Emma. Thanks for joining us. She says, are you worried about your employer's flexibility if you're offered odd days here and there, I suppose, of TV work, she probably means. She's had to try to negotiate this herself recently, and it's really tricky to know when to pull the plug on your non-TV job.
Yeah,
have you thought about that yourself?
Yeah, and I'm very lucky with the support I've got with Tesco's, and my area manager has been like, listen, you know, lovely. He's like, we want to keep you as much as for as long as we can. You're helping us.
I'm sure he does.
But he's very much aware that, you know, this isn't. You know, my career is in TV, or my future hopeful career is in TV. So, you know, he's just said, as long as you can give us a few weeks' notice, then I can replace you and switch you out. So I think, it would be hard to, you know, leave for a few days' work. You know, hopefully it would be something that was a little bit more concrete or a little bit more long-lasting. You know, a couple of months or something. But then again, you know, if it is a couple of days, I don't have to work every day there, and I'm quite flexible with my shift and my hours. So it could mean that you could pick up a little bit of researching somewhere and start the ball rolling. But I am slightly worried about cutting that off, because it has been so helpful and I've been so thankful for it. But like I said, hopefully now things feel like they're starting to move in TV and feel like they're starting to get going, then hopefully, fingers crossed, there's more of a long-term thing coming up, if I'm lucky.
Yeah. I think that is the worry, isn't it, really, for everybody doing odds and ends just to make ends meet. It sounds like, Helen, you've got a solution in that you can kind of close down and pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal in that, you know, we want to maintain our customer base and we want to feel reliable, but you know, I think people generally understand, you know, in amongst the new customers that we've got, they are very, you know, that when I said I'd got a 4-week contract, everyone was just really happy for me, because I've got to know them. You know, I've been giving them food over the doorstep for 10 weeks, and they're all, you know, they're all just like really on board with whatever. It's like, as soon as you can do food again, we would love to have it. So, you know, that the community support actually has been incredible for us. We've really felt like, you know, people, it's not that people see us as a charity case, but they, you know, they have been loyal and they've come back, and you know, they'll be
they can make a choice, can't they? They can make a choice to go to their usual takeaway or support you guys.
Yeah, and our food is just better. So,
well,
you know,
clearly.
But yeah, I mean, I'm nervous about the future. I've just had a big contract pulled that I was supposed to be doing in October until January, which I'd really been counting on. I've got a job for 6 weeks in the end of August through to October, so at least I've got that. So, you know, we're kind of what we decided we'd do is try and just take it. We've built a business that can scale up or down to doing. Now my partner's thinking about how he can run the takeaway business potentially without me and bring someone else in to do all of that. So, you know, it's definitely, what it's done is it's just kind of it's opened our horizons as to what else we can be doing. So
I think it's made people do things quicker than they would have done, even if it's been somewhere at the back of your mind to do. Maybe Tesco's wasn't at the back of your mind, Chris. You know, but Helen, like, you obviously have got something entrepreneurial in you. It's not just that. It's not.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was there. You know, I've been in telly for a very long time, and I've never done another career. So, you know, to be honest, I'm going to put my very positive hat on and say it's one of the best things that's happened for a long time for mentally for me, because it's shown me that you can do things. You can actually do things, the training that you get in TV to be adaptable, well, not the training, but the way that you become adaptable, just meant that kind of mental attitude, I was a bit like, no, okay, well, what, you know, I just felt like I could do something. We could do something.
But I think that's a huge skill in itself, isn't it? Just being like, okay, these are the cards I'm dealt at the minute. This is the situation. So how can I make it better for myself, or what can I do to improve things? And I think that's admirable anyway, you know.
Yeah.
That brings me round. I was going to ask you guys what you think you've learned about yourselves then, to kind of wrap up. Chuck any last questions at us, guys, and otherwise we'll wrap up shortly, because actually Chris has got to go and do payroll.
Guys, so, I've got to pay. People need
genuinely
he's got to do menu planning,
and you've got to go and do that on your couple of days between things. But tell me then, what do you feel like you have learnt about yourselves? And so Helen, you've already said that you've found that entrepreneur in you. What other skills have you found, or even whether that's a personality trait that this has taught you?
Oh God, I don't know, maybe a bit of tenacity that I didn't know I had. This is not about personality, but what I have realised is that I do quite like sitting down when I'm doing an edit producing job. And I've lost a stone over
being on your feet,
because I was walking around and lifting heavy weights all day, every day, and I didn't stop eating as much as I normally do. I was like, oh my God, I've lost weight. That's got nothing to do with personality. It's just I'm quite vain.
Yeah, I've got entrepreneurial spirit. I don't know how I'm organised, but I didn't know that anyway, and I've lost some weight. Yeah, it's all good, good stuff. Chris, what about you?
I think, maybe not being afraid to, like, you know, try new things or anything. I think coming from, especially being in as a performer for 15 years, trying to transition into TV was a huge deal for me. And, you know, thinking, oh God, I've given this up and now I'm doing this. And actually it's in the last year now I've changed career twice, and just being willing to try new things and not worry about what people think or you know, what the outcome might be. I mean, I've had some friends, every time I meet up with them, they're doing a different job and they've got a different career. And I actually really admire that, because sometimes you get so, you know, labeled with what you do is who you are and everything. And actually I can be me doing the Tesco thing, and I can be me in TV, or I can be me, you know, and it's, I just think just not being afraid to try new things. And also I've kind of learned that I actually want to make the best of whatever I do. Do you know what I mean? If I'm filling the milk up in Tesco's, it's going to be the best looking milk they've ever seen. Or if I'm producing or research, I want to do the best research I can, or whatever. I think it's just, I've learned that about myself, and actually, you know, I do want to make the best of everything, and that's quite a positive thing to take from it.
It's a really positive thing, to be proud of whatever you do and not look down on whatever it may be, however menial. I mean, you've already proved that, really, going into a runner job, you know, after a first career, that, you know, you realize that that's how it is, and you don't know the telly industry properly yet, so that's just what you need to do. And so I think it must have been a massive challenge as well. I mean, to leave an industry and then go into a new one anyway, and then this happened.
Well, I mentioned to you the other day, like, you know, I was dance coach on The Crown, and I've used to, like, being a creative on big TV shows, and then having to be then making a cup of tea for people on those same TV shows, or the same thing. You know, I used to looking after the room, and then I'm looking after people for cup of tea. You know, that was a learning curve in itself, but it's all positive things. I think you can't let your pride get in the way of stuff that's actually going to ultimately make you happy and make you learn and make you progress. So I think that's a big thing that I've learned.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what I feel from you guys is that sense of positivity that, like, everybody felt at the beginning, oh shit, this is dreadful, what am I going to do? But you've got up and done something, and you've figured it out, and you're doing really well. And telly's picking back up, as I say. I think telly's picking back up. I know that it's still going to be sporadic, you know, we can't promise big long contracts from next week, you know, but we're sensing it for sure. And, you know, it's just pays to be, in more ways than one, to, I suppose, think outside the box and not be too proud to do something. But I also realize people are trying to find other work, and that's hard too.
I was going to say, it's not. Yeah, it's not easy. it's definitely not an easy situation. I'm blessed because of the situation I'm in with my partner, but I definitely have many friends who it's not been that kind of straightforward for. And I am worried about the future. I am worried about the contracts that will come our way, in terms of how much shorter they're going to be and how much less we're going to get paid. And I do have concerns, and I think, you know, having something else to rely on can only be a clever thing to do with the way the industry feels generally.
Yes, I think a kind of a side project, a side interest is not a bad shout, is it? Certainly for the next sort of year or two, or however long this may rumble on. But also I want people to stick to their rates. I really do. I mean, I know it's really hard because the commissioners are commissioning lower budget series, but it shouldn't mean you drop your rate by 100 quid a week. I mean, there's always negotiation to be had. I really would urge people to try and stick to what they are worth and use a little bit of wiggle room, of course, but have a properly open, honest, mature discussion with, you know, your production manager about it, because I'm hearing stories of people having to, you know, sacrifice a contract because they've stuck to their guns, or come down a crazy amount because they're working from home. And I don't think, you know, I don't think rates are normally set because they're commuting into London. Like that's just not how it goes, is it?
No, I mean, and that's a worry for the kind of sustainability of the industry as a whole. You know, you can't, because there's going to be less work, you can't do less work and take less pay and stay within the industry. You know, it's a no-brainer that we're going to be losing talent because of it. So, you know, and I don't know, there's no solution. The budgets aren't there, the money's not there. So it's going to be hard. It's not going to be a walk in the park. It's not like it's all just going to kick off again in 2 months. I can see that it's going to be a harder path.
Yes. So Chris, which branch of Tesco's can we come and see the most positive deputy manager? Yeah.
Well, I was at Downham in Grove Park, but now I'm in Bromley. So if you fancy coming into Bromley High
Did you have
Street,
a transfer because you were
transfer? I got transferred when I became the manager. Yeah, so it's all new.
Well, look, I think it's brilliant. Yeah, I think both of you are totally inspiring, and I know there's a lot of other people who will feel the same. And Tom, thank you for your comments saying it all sounds like such a positive temporary outcome out of a very weird industry situation.
Very
well
weird.
Summed up. Summed up. So thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna let you go to sort out your payroll and sort out your menu plan for your partner's business. Do you want to say your partner's business's name, or were you worried that you're going to get inundated?
No, we won't. It's fine. I've got control of the WhatsApp group, so we're called I Am Spice Monkey. We're called Spice Monkey.
Spice Monkey,
and we're kind of looking at how to do more teaching. We can do socially distanced teaching soonish, but you know, we can only do a couple of people at a time, and we used to rely on the income of many more people than that. So
I feel like Nick's going to conquer the world, and you're going to be there saying, "I was your first sous chef," and look at your team now.
Yeah. Oh dear.
That's right. Yeah, in your shared editing. Yeah. But thank you ever so much, and guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been so nice to chat. And if you miss any of this session and you want to, you missed out some of the beginnings of these guys' stories, it'll be on our website, talentedpeople.tv later on. And keep your eye on the jobs boards. If you're not following us on all our social platforms, we're tweeting and Instagramming a lot right now because there's things happening. So whether it's news or jobs or these sessions, keep track of what we're doing now. Go and find us now. They're all just at Talented People with one of the E's missing because stupid social media handle wasn't available. Not a typo. Yeah. But yeah, all our info's on our website. So thank you ever so much, everybody. Have a lovely weekend. And hope to be speaking to lots of you soon about work. So stay tuned. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kimberly.
Bye. Bye.